Good morning, folks. Walter here. When I first heard about cryptocurrency, I thought the whole thing was absolutely bonkers. People were spending actual money on digital coins that could lose half their value before you'd finished your morning coffee. Bitcoin would shoot up to ridiculous heights one day, then crash spectacularly the next. It was like watching someone ride a roller coaster whilst trying to use their wallet. Madness, really. But then stablecoins came along, and suddenly the whole crypto thing started making a bit more sense. Think of stablecoins as the sensible cousin at the family gathering, the one who doesn't get drunk and dance on tables. They're the steady, reliable presence in a world of digital chaos. Today I'm going to explain what stablecoins are, why they matter, and whether there's something you should actually pay attention to. No jargon, no hype, just straight talk. Here's the thing about money. We need it to be boring. I know that sounds odd, but bear with me. When you pop to Tesco and buy a loaf of bread for $1.20, you need to know that the pound in your pocket will still be worth roughly a pound tomorrow. You can't have a functioning economy if your currency is bouncing around like a kangaroo on a trampoline. That's precisely the problem traditional cryptocurrencies faced. How could anyone actually use Bitcoin to buy things when it might be worth $30,000 today and $20,000 tomorrow? You'd never know if you were getting a bargain or being robbed blind. Stablecoins solved this by doing something rather clever. They pegged their value to something stable, usually the US dollar or British pound. One stablecoin equals $1 a pound. Today, tomorrow, and next week. Revolutionary? Not really. Practical? Absolutely. So what exactly are stablecoins? They're digital currencies designed to maintain a stable value, usually by being backed by traditional currencies like the pound or dollar. Think of it like this. For every stablecoin token created, there should be one actual pound or dollar sitting in a bank account somewhere. It's the old gold standard idea, except now it's digital tokens backed by traditional money. This stability makes them incredibly important for the digital economy. They become the bridge between traditional money and the wild west of cryptocurrency. They're the translator at the international conference, making sure everyone can actually communicate and do business. Instead of converting back and forth between pounds and Bitcoin every time you want to make a transaction, you can use stablecoins. You get the speed and flexibility of cryptocurrency with the predictability of traditional money. Now, what are people actually using stablecoins for? Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're sending money to your daughter who's working in Australia. Using a traditional bank, you'd pay hefty fees, wait several days, and probably need to fill out forms that would rival War and Peace in length. With stablecoins, you can send the equivalent of pounds or dollars almost instantly, often for pennies and fees. People use stablecoins for international transfers, for trading in and out of other cryptocurrencies without converting back to traditional money each time, and increasingly, for everyday transactions in countries where the local currency is about as stable as a three-legged chair. Businesses use them for quick settlements, avoiding the delays of traditional banking. Some people even earn interest by lending their stablecoins out, though we'll talk about the risks of that in a moment. What aren't they used for? Well, they're not an investment in the traditional sense. You won't get rich holding stablecoins because they're designed not to increase in value. They're meant to stay stable, remember? That's literally in the name. Right. Let me walk you through how the most common type of stablecoin actually works. I'll use a simple example. Imagine a company, let's call it the Stablecoin Company. Someone approaches them with $1,000 and says, "I'd like some stablecoins, please." The company takes that $1,000 and deposits it into their reserve account. Think of this reserve account as a giant vault where they keep all the backing money. In exchange for those pounds, the company creates 1,000 new stablecoin tokens and gives them to the customer. These tokens now exist on a blockchain, which is essentially a digital ledger that records who owns what. Now our customer has 1,000 stablecoins in their digital wallet. They can send these to anyone, anywhere in the world, almost instantly. The recipient can use them to buy things, trade them for other cryptocurrencies, or just hold on to them. When someone eventually wants to convert their stablecoins back to actual pounds, they go back to the stablecoin company and say, "Here are 500 tokens. I'd like my money back, please." The company takes those 500 tokens and destroys them, or burns them, because everything in crypto needs dramatic terminology. Then they send the person $500 from the reserve account. The system stays balanced because tokens are only created when money comes in and destroyed when money goes out. Now, there's another type called algorithmic stablecoins that tried to maintain value through clever computer programs instead of actual reserves. The most famous was Terra USD, which collapsed spectacularly in 2022, wiping out billions. Turned out the algorithms weren't quite as clever as everyone thought. Right. I need to be straight with you about this because it's important. Stablecoins, like any financial technology, come with risks. First, there's counterparty risk. When you hold stablecoins, you're trusting that the company issuing them actually has the reserves they claim. If they're lying, or if they've invested those reserves in risky assets that go bad, your stablecoins could become worthless. Then there's technology risk. Stablecoins exist on blockchains, and those can have vulnerabilities. If you send stablecoins to the wrong address, there's no customer service number to call. The transaction is permanent. Exchanges where you might store stablecoins can be hacked. It's happened before. It'll happen again. And there's regulatory risk. Governments could decide to crack down on stablecoins, particularly ones that aren't fully compliant with financial regulations. My advice? If you're going to use stablecoins, do your homework. Stick with the established, transparent ones that provide regular audits of their reserves. Don't keep more in stablecoins than you can afford to lose. And for goodness sake, double-check addresses before sending transactions. Remember, stable doesn't mean safe, and digital doesn't mean invincible. Your bank can now offer cryptocurrency services. Your financial advisor, whether that's at a local bank, investment firm, or financial planning service, can now include cryptocurrency in their recommendations. Major financial institutions worldwide are building products that make cryptocurrency as straightforward to use as online banking or digital payment apps. The new regulatory frameworks mean digital currencies now have similar legal protections and oversight as traditional investments. But, and this is important, safer doesn't mean safe. More regulated doesn't mean risk-free. This is still a volatile, evolving technology. The same rules apply that we've talked about throughout this guide. Never invest more than you can afford to lose completely. Start small. Focus on learning rather than getting rich quick. So, what are stablecoins? They're the sensible answer to cryptocurrency's biggest problem, volatility. They're digital currencies designed to maintain a stable value, usually by being backed by traditional currencies like the pound or dollar. They've evolved from complex early experiments to relatively straightforward systems, with a few spectacular failures teaching us important lessons along the way. They're useful for international transfers, for moving in and out of cryptocurrency investments, and increasingly, for everyday transactions. They're not useful for getting rich quick, because they're designed to stay stable, not grow in value. The future looks bright, with increasing adoption and integration into mainstream finance. But they're not without risks. The technology is still relatively new, regulations are being worked out, and you need to be careful about security. I think stablecoins represent something genuinely useful in the financial technology landscape. They're not perfect, and they're certainly not a replacement for traditional money in all situations. But they've carved out a valuable niche, solving real problems for real people. Just remember, stable doesn't mean safe, and digital doesn't mean invincible. Approach stablecoins with the same caution you'd approach any financial product. And if anyone tries to sell you on an algorithmic stablecoin promising amazing returns with no backing, remember what happened to Terra USD and run in the opposite direction. Some lessons we really should only need to learn once. Now, before we wrap up, I want to leave you with something important. If our discussion about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency has sparked your curiosity, and I hope it has, then you're probably wondering, Walter, where do I go from here? Well, I've got two suggestions for you, and neither one involves jumping into some get-rich-quick scheme or following the advice of someone on TikTok who looks like they're barely old enough to vote. First, if you want to stay current with what's happening in the cryptocurrency world, and trust me, things change fast in this space. I write a weekly blog at over50crypto.com. That's over50crypto.com. Every week, I break down the latest developments in plain English. No hype, no promises of Lamborghinis. Just honest analysis from someone who's seen enough market cycles to know what actually matters. But if you really want to master this subject, and I mean truly understand it from the ground up, then I've written the complete guide. It's called Bitcoin and Beyond, a guide for people who remember when phones had cords, and you can find it on Amazon. Link in the description below. Now, why did I write this book? Because most cryptocurrency content out there is written by 20-somethings for 20-somethings. It's full of jargon, assumptions, and frankly, a lot of breathless excitement that doesn't help you make sound financial decisions. My book is different. It's written specifically for experienced adults who want real knowledge, not get-rich-quick fantasies. In it, you'll find everything we talked about today and much more. Step-by-step wallet setup, how to make your first purchase safely, tax implications explained in simple terms, and advanced strategies for integrating cryptocurrency into your existing portfolio, if that's what you decide to do. Remember, whether you decide cryptocurrency is right for you or not, making that decision with real knowledge is always better than guessing. So visit over50crypto.com for ongoing education, or grab the book on Amazon for the complete deep dive. Either way, thank you for your time today. And remember, the best investment you can make is in your own understanding.